The Nice House on the Lake, issue number 6. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was last week, but now I'm going to say it's this week that this is when the book goes on hiatus. I know Tynan was talking about at some point this book is going to be taking a break. And I think it's this time around, and especially in the new year. It's a great place to stop. It's kind of like the first arc of this journey. I don't know if it's going to be an ongoing. It has the potential to be, but I feel like we're at like the end of the first arc or the halfway point. We know the premise now, and I feel like the rest of the book's going to be continuing what that premise is. So, at the end of the last issues, we found Reg, and Reg was like living in that big black building. Everybody found their totems, they touched it, they opened the gates to let Reggie out, and basically we are just kind of like learning a little bit more of what his role is in all of this. So he brings them all into his house, and we see this extravagant looking place. He, of course, is the painter, so he's got canvases all over. He's also got all this data and information on everybody. And basically, we learn what his role is in all of this, and it's a little bit different. He's also the one that reveals to both the characters in the book and the audience that Walter is an alien. We got that official confirmation here. I think we were all kind of speculating that. And that's another thing about this book, too. It doesn't stray away from, like, what it's trying to say. It's very easy. Well, easy is the wrong word. It's very obvious and kind of eventually what the book becomes, which I think is okay. It's still a fun, interesting, and engaging story. So basically, Reg also has, like, these, like, transcripts of everything that everybody's ever said. This kind of freaks Rick out a little bit because he knows the secret messages he's been having with Walter. And basically, he's going to tell everybody, like, what this is all about. And why don't you just, like, listen to what I'm about to say. This is going to be very crucial. So we cut back to the high school years where we see Walter's hanging out with Reggie. They're hanging out with Norm. Of course, Norm is Nora before he transitions to become Nora. So they're just having fun, just talking, just enjoying themselves, smoking it up, doing some art and stuff. And Walter's just kind of observing, in a sense. It's very much his character. We see that Reg is trying to get this painting done, but it's not going the way he wants to. And then, it's just a bunch of these guys just hanging out. And I this is where I'm like, I feel like this is Tynan as Walter. He puts himself in a lot of his works. If there is a character in a Tynan book that has glasses, and the glasses are kind of whited out sometimes, that is the James Tynan stand-in. And I think Walter here is just like, I love my friends, and I love this world we're building, and I want to be a part of that forever, and I just like seeing what that is. And you just see Walter's like, I feel like I'm running out of time. I just wish I could have more time with you guys, and just the three of us hang out forever and do all this cool stuff. And I would just like that. You could write, Reggie could paint. Like, it would just be nice to have this forever. And I don't know if we're going to have it. We also see that Sam comes to hang out with them, but they don't really want to like hang out with Sam because Walter's still not like sure if he wants to be friends with him. And basically, as he gets into a conversation about their sexuality, Norm is very much of this mind where he is completely straight. He is the token straight in this group, with Walter and Reg, who are openly homosexual. I believe that's what they're implying here. There is the implication too that Walter has like actual romantic feelings towards Reg. They don't really explore anything with that, which is very confusing and very interesting at the same time. So we see that Walter's like, well, I'd like to hang out with Sam at some point, but I think this weekend we shouldn't. There's something I need to tell you guys, and I just want to tell you too. Then we cut back to the present day. We see that Nora's like, I do not remember any of this. It's like, no, because he erases our minds. There's a lot going on here that's hard to explain. And when we cut back to the past once more, we learn literally everything that I kind of been theorizing this was the case with this book. And it's very interesting. So we see everyone's just hanging out. And this is where Walter reveals his big plan, or everything that's going on with him. The world's going to end. Not immediately, very soon, when they're older in the next couple of decades, things aren't going to go well for anybody. And basically, my species can stop that from happening. But before that, we have to judge to see if humanity is worth saving. So I was tasked with being one of you and kind of like infiltrating the ranks of humanity. And I'm supposed to put together this group of people that I think are interesting and exceptional. And I bring them together and show that they can function as like a stable unit. And that's the book. Like, I think that was the theory for a lot of people, where it's like, oh, he's an alien, like experimenting on these people, giving them everything they want to see if humanity is worth saving. It's a common theme we've seen a bunch in this type of genre storytelling. That's not the problem here at all. I think it works really well because this is such a fun narrative. So he literally just lays it down for them. They, of course, don't believe him, but you see Reg is kind of a little more like, this is something I should be listening to. And you see Walter does this big freak out where he like turns into like the weird creature of all the faces just spewing out of him. He tells Norm to forget, and he does, but he doesn't tell Reggie. Basically, he's like, you really want to save us. Is this the right way to go about it? And he's like, because you love us, right? This is why you're doing it, Walter. And that, of course, is the reason. He's like, yeah, this is not how I thought things were going to go. I didn't think my time on Earth would lead to me actually loving people and caring about humanity, and especially my friends in this way, so I could use your help. And Reg agrees to help him. So Reg has known the entire time throughout his time in this book what Walter has been planning. Of course, we're just meeting Reg in this timeline now, so that's not a big shock. And everyone's just kind of like, why are you doing this? He's like, well, this is how it needs to go. This is literally the way things need to work. This is an experiment, right? This means we can be saved. It's a trial run. You know, this is just at the beginning. So if we do things the right way, they can actually work for the better. We just have to communicate. We just have to try. We just have to understand each other and be accepting and be stable. We should try to be stable. If we work together, we can do it. But Walter comes in and he's like, you have to stop this. Doing things this way, it's not going to work. You need to relax. You know, it's not some game, not some scheme. It's just a couple of friends hanging out forever. That's all this needs to be. You don't have to overthink this, guys. So just relax. And you see Nora's ready to lash out at him. But again, he tells Nora to forget. And then we fade to the next day. I'm going to assume we see a bunch of people hanging out. You know, a couple of guys are going to go for a walk. We see that Ryan and Reg are just hanging out, enjoying their time. Literally, it's just like a smash cut to a new scene where everything's hunky-dory and everyone's working together. And we just see that, like, you know, it looks like today's going to be a nice day. And we don't specify or say anything on who knows the truth or not, or who remembers what we saw. We just saw that Walter said he's going to make people forget, and then we don't specify who particularly it is. So it could be Reg still remembers, but everybody else forgets, and he's going to play the game this way. Or nobody remembers, or everybody remembers but Nora, because we saw that Nora's the one that keeps getting the memory wiped from her. So maybe that's another thing that Walter's doing here to that woman, and it's interesting. It's very interesting, and it's also a very good way to end this arc, I think. Giving us the reveal now after we've had like a couple issues of people exploring these ideas and coming up with these things, like, is this a game? Is this a trial? Like, what are we really doing here? Now that we have the information, I think it works really well too, because we still don't know how things are going to play out for this group, how humanity's going to be saved, if it is saved or not. I think that's a fun way to kind of wrap up this story in this part of the book, and I'm curious to see where it goes forward. Like, there's a lot you can do here, I do believe that, but also there are some limitations that are given to this kind of fiction because it just plays in on itself a lot, and sometimes that could be hard to make special. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But so far, I think The Nice House on the Lake has been a very special book, and this issue was no exception. It's very fun. The story works perfectly. The artwork is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. A lot of love put into this thing, and it's just a good story about friendship in a weird, twisted way. You know, like keeping your friends in a bubble forever because that's how you want them to be, but still, nonetheless, very exciting. So, The Nice House on the Lake, issue number 6. I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.